What if the reason you're not building wealth isn't because you spend too much money or earn too little, but because you've become too good at saving? It sounds strange, but millions of people are stuck in a financial middle ground where they work hard, save consistently, and do everything they're told to do, yet their money never really starts working for them. And the longer this continues, the more expensive that delay becomes. What if the reason so many people struggle to start investing has nothing to do with how much money they earn and everything to do with how they think about saving? Across the United States and Europe, millions of students, young professionals, and working adults are doing what they believe is the financially responsible thing. They work hard, earn a paycheck, pay their bills on time, avoid unnecessary risks, and slowly build a savings account. On the surface, this seems like the perfect financial strategy. Yet many of these same people reach their late 20s, 30s, or even 40s with surprisingly little invested capital, despite years of disciplined saving. The reason is often not a lack of effort, but a misunderstanding of the relationship between saving and investing. Most people see them as separate activities. Saving feels safe, predictable, and responsible, while investing feels uncertain, complicated, and risky. As a result, they continue saving long after they have already accumulated enough cash for security, creating a situation where their money is protected but not growing. Consider a realistic example. Imagine a young professional named David living in Denver, or perhaps Emma living in Manchester. After taxes, David takes home approximately $4,800 each month. His rent consumes $1,700. Utilities, internet, and phone services cost another $250. His car payment is $400. Insurance costs $180. Student loan payments require $300. Groceries and household expenses consume roughly $500. Social activities, streaming subscriptions, occasional travel, and entertainment absorb another $500. At the end of the month, he still manages to save around $500. This is not an irresponsible person. In fact, many financial experts would praise his behavior. He spends less than he earns, maintains consistent savings, and avoids major financial mistakes. After several years, he accumulates $10,000, then $15,000, then $20,000, and eventually even more. Interestingly, instead of becoming more confident about investing, he often becomes more hesitant. The larger the balance grows, the more attached he becomes to it. The money represents security, stability, and protection against uncertainty. The thought of investing it begins to feel uncomfortable because investing introduces the possibility of short-term fluctuations. This psychological shift is remarkably common. Many people assume that saving naturally leads to investing, but in reality, excessive comfort with saving can delay investing indefinitely. The hidden issue is that saving and investing serve different purposes. Saving is designed to protect money over short periods of time. Investing is designed to grow money over long periods of time. Confusing these purposes can quietly slow financial progress for decades. Imagine placing $20,000 in a traditional savings account, earning 1% annually. After 1 year, the account balance increases modestly. At first glance, that feels positive because the number is growing. But if inflation is running at 3%, the purchasing power of that money has actually declined. The account balance may be larger, yet the money buys less than before. This is one of the least understood concepts in personal finance. Many people focus on preserving the number they see in their account, while overlooking the purchasing power that number represents. Financially intelligent people tend to think differently. They understand that money has jobs. Some money exists to provide safety. Other money exists to provide growth. Emergency funds, for example, serve a very specific purpose. They exist to cover unexpected events such as job loss, medical expenses, major repairs, or temporary financial disruptions. Because this money may be needed at any moment, stability matters more than growth. Investment money serves an entirely different purpose. It exists to increase future purchasing power over years and decades. Once people understand this distinction, the transition from saving to investing becomes much easier. Instead of viewing investing as risking all their money, they begin viewing investing as assigning a different job to a portion of their money. Suppose David decides that 6 months of expenses require roughly $12,000. He keeps that amount in cash as an emergency reserve. The remaining funds become available for long-term growth. Psychologically, this changes everything. He no longer feels as though he is risking his financial safety. His safety has already been established. Now he is simply allocating surplus capital toward a different objective. Unfortunately, many people never make this transition because they continue chasing larger and larger cash balances. First, they want $5,000, then $10,000, then $20,000, then $30,000. The target constantly moves. Meanwhile, years pass without meaningful investment activity. Another reason people struggle to begin investing is the belief that they need a large amount of money before they can start. Someone with $500 assumes investing becomes worthwhile at $5,000. Someone with $5,000 assumes they should wait until they reach $20,000. Someone with $20,000 feels they need even more. The threshold continuously shifts into the future. What many people fail to recognize is that investing is often less about the starting amount and more about the time horizon. Consider two individuals. The first waits 10 years before making a large investment. The second begins investing smaller amounts immediately. Although the first person eventually contributes more money at once, the second person often benefits from something more powerful: time. Time allows compound growth to operate. Compound growth is not exciting because its effects are usually invisible at first. In the early years, progress appears slow, but over long periods, growth begins generating additional growth, creating a compounding effect that becomes increasingly powerful. Imagine investing $300 each month over 30 years with an average annual return of 8%. The total contributions would equal approximately $108,000. Yet the final portfolio value could exceed several $100,000 because returns generate their own returns over time. This is why financially intelligent people focus heavily on starting rather than perfecting. They understand that waiting for ideal conditions often delays the very process that creates long-term wealth. Of course, understanding this mathematically is easier than accepting it emotionally. The stock market moves up and down. Investments fluctuate. An account worth $10,000 today may be worth $9,500 next month. Many new investors interpret this as evidence that investing was a mistake. Experienced investors tend to see it differently. They understand that short-term fluctuations are normal features of long-term investing rather than signs of failure. Their perspective extends beyond monthly movements and focuses instead on decades. This difference in time horizon influences behavior in profound ways. Savers often evaluate success based on preservation. Investors evaluate success based on long-term growth. Neither mindset is inherently wrong. Problems arise only when someone uses a saver's mindset to solve an investor's problem. Wealth creation typically requires more than preserving capital. It requires giving capital opportunities to grow. This is especially important for middle-class households whose greatest financial advantage is time rather than extraordinary income. Many people believe wealth is primarily created through earning more money. While income certainly matters, the relationship between income and investment behavior often matters even more. Two individuals earning identical salaries can experience dramatically different financial outcomes depending on how they allocate surplus income. One may continuously accumulate cash, while the other gradually transitions excess savings into productive assets. Over a working lifetime, the difference can become substantial. Financially intelligent people rarely think of saving and investing as opposing choices. Instead, they see them as sequential stages of the same process. Saving comes first because stability matters. Investing comes second because growth matters. The goal is not to replace saving with investing, but to recognize when enough safety has been achieved and growth should become the priority. This shift is often less about financial knowledge and more about perspective. People who successfully transition from saving to investing stop asking whether investing feels comfortable. Instead, they ask whether keeping too much money idle serves their long-term goals. They begin viewing every dollar as a tool with a specific purpose. Some dollars protect against emergencies, some dollars pay for current living expenses, some dollars create future opportunities. Once money is organized according to purpose rather than emotion, decision-making becomes much simpler. The transition from saving to investing is not a dramatic leap into uncertainty. It is a gradual recognition that money designed for future growth should be allowed to grow. Saving remains essential because it provides security and flexibility. Investing becomes essential because it helps maintain and expand purchasing power over time. Together, they form a complete financial system. Separately, each solves only part of the problem. And perhaps that is the most important lesson. The path from saving to investing is not really about learning complicated financial strategies. It is about understanding that money intended for tomorrow should not always be treated as though it might be needed today. Once that distinction becomes clear, investing no longer feels like a frightening risk. It begins to feel like the natural next step in a thoughtful financial life. The transition from saving to investing isn't about taking reckless risks or trying to get rich quickly. It's simply about understanding that different dollars have different jobs. Some money exists to protect you from uncertainty. Other money exists to build your future. The people who successfully build wealth aren't necessarily the highest earners or the most aggressive investors. More often, they're the people who recognize when they've saved enough for safety and allow the rest of their money to begin growing over time. Saving creates stability. Investing creates progress. And when those two work together, money stops being something you constantly manage and slowly becomes something that helps build the life you want. If you found this perspective useful, consider subscribing for more videos on money psychology, investing, and long-term wealth building.